There are many sisters who get on this app and they talk about marriage or marital situations that are not ideal. So perhaps you'll hear, one of them talk about a sister who had an affair because she thought her man was not attractive, or a man who went to another country and got a wife behind, got another wife without letting the first wife know. So these talks, though they're real situations that happen, there are situations that do exist in our community, in humanity, whether you be Muslim or non-Muslim. These things happen. But what sweet fruit like pomegranate and watermelon and mangoes comes from reporting or narrating these stories to the masses? In fact, it is just another type of gossip. It's another type of gossip. That's it. My sisters, be very careful. Brothers and sisters, when you hear these sisters talk about these issues or these situations, keep scrolling. Because if you're not careful, Shaitan is going to play with your heart, and he's going to cause you to dwell. What if your husband does this? What if your wife does this? Subhanallah, then you find yourself in a very terrible situation. Then you go home and you start blaming your husband or wife for something that they didn't do, because you've been listening to these foolish stories, because they're real. They actually do happen. And I want to know how to protect myself or to protect, my friend. Don't delude yourself. Don't allow Shaitan to play with your mind. Beware of these sisters. Beware of these stories. And sisters, if you make this a habit of telling these stories, if it's your habit to tell these stories in order to get followers and views, then be sincere. Fear God and be sincere. And if you're telling these stories because, they're real situations and I want to warn sisters, then you've been deluded by the devil. It's a trick of the devil. You think the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ didn't know of these stories or situations? Subhanallah. You think the people, the scholars, don't know about these situations and stories that happen? Subhanallah. You think the greatest of storytellers, when I say the greatest of storytellers, I mean those who are moral and just and righteous. You think they didn't know about these stories? Of course they did. But what did they choose to tell? They chose to tell stories about the ideal situation, how a person should be. And within those stories of how a person should be, there are reminders and warnings of how not to be. And also lessons to be learned on, perhaps, and wisdoms on how to deal with such non-ideal situations that you find yourself in. So be just. Be fair. Don't delude people. Be righteous. Don't be the tools and the arrows of Satan. May Allah guide us, Allahumma ameen, and protect us. Do not listen to these stories. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.